Boss is still out today. How suspicious. Must be really sick. Yeah, sure. That's what it is. You believe that. Guess so. He hasn't called in. Has been answering his phone. That's a first for him. Yeah. Something's not right, Jay. That's fine. If the boss is in trouble, he'd give us a call. That's not. No, it's other people in trouble. He's probably out murdering someone right now. Just relax. I guess you're right. Anyway, better get back out there. Okay. Yo, what you got? Hello? Jay, it's me. Dad? I just got home. Welcome back. I know you're busy, but drop by for a visit, okay? Yeah, okay. How was your dad? Huh? He just got back. Are we gonna see him? Not now. I'd rather wait until this investigation cools off a bit. Okay. Before we go out, let's go over what we know so far. Good idea. Talk. Why the three victims changed their names? Three victims who changed their names were Sam, Duke, and Isabella. Why? But the question is why? We'll have to see what Hugo comes up with on that. Yeah. How do they know each other? Four of the victims knew each other for over 10 years before they were killed. Right, and all four of them lived in the city back then. Picture was taken over 30 years ago. I'm sure like to know what those four were up to back then. Probably stealing some shit. Hope Hugo can get us something on that. I do too. Basslock. Bernard Johnson gave us the hint Basslock. We started looking into the Basslock incident that took place 34 years ago. But we still don't know how that incident is connected to the Providence murders. And we don't have much on Hans Rickman, the officer who died in the Basslock incident. There's something about the Basslock case that doesn't feel right. What is it? Henry. When we told him about Basslock, he hardly knew anything about it. But it's like everyone else his age knows about Basslock. It was a big thing back then. Do you think Henry was really telling the truth about that? I don't know. That struck me as a little weird too. Let's ask whenever we finally get a hold of him. Yeah. I'm just gonna throw this out there. It's probably not true, but you know, what if? Because like everyone else changed their fucking name. What if Henry is Hans Rickman? And this is like a revenge scenario. Where it's like, they fucking ruined my life. Killed them. Showed them who's what. You ready to head out again? Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Jay, it's Maureen. Hi, what's up? Got results on that drug found in the pipes at Johnson & Co. Stop by the crime lab and I'll fill you in. We'll be there. Thanks for calling. Kate, results are in on that drug found in the sink at Johnson & Co. Then we better go see Maureen first. Right. Now, before I go to the forensics, there's something about this song that every time I hear a part of it, I was like, this fucking reminds me of something. And I want to play the comparison, because I'm pretty confident I know what it reminds me of. That right there that just played reminds me a lot of the song from No More Heroes 1. It reminds me a lot of it. It's probably like the same samples or whatever that was used, but whatever. CBD forensics. Maureen, thanks for the phone call. Glad you could make it. So, what kind of drug are we talking about here? Not your typical cold medicine. Contains ingredients rarely used in pharmaceuticals. Used for cancer treatment. Cancer? And I gave the data to Lane. I want to track down where it came from. It's a very specialized drug, so the source shouldn't be hard to find. Maybe you should drop by later. Okay. Okay, Maureen, thanks again. Don't be a stranger. I suppose I'll go talk to Homicide then. Because if Lane's got the data, then I should probably, get the data or whatever he found from him. Detective Martinez, anything new on the case? Finally got something for you. Forensics called in results on that drug found in the sink at Johnson & Co. We heard from Maureen. We came here to ask her about that. Sounds like it's a drug used for treating cancer. Yeah, but it's still considered experimental. Track down the seller and figure that out. Apparently it's a new kind of drug they use at the university hospital. They just sent me a list of patients they administered the drug to. A suspect might be on that list. Exactly, which is why I'm a little frustrated. What do you mean? I know one of the people on that list. Who? Your boss, Henry Mills. What? It's the most obvious thing. You could have seen that coming. Is this some kind of joke? No joke, Weaver. Where's your boss right now? He's been home sick since yesterday. Probably sick from cancer. Let me know when he gets back. I want to have a talk with him. We'll do that. Okay. Goodbye. Who that? Who this? Is it Jay? I've got stuff for you. Like what? Info on the three victims and their names. And some more info on Hans Rickman. And there's something I really want you to see, Jay. Can we meet somewhere? Sure. How about the cafe bar on the seaside? Yeah, that works. Cool. See you there. Alright. Heading over there now. See you soon. Hey. Where is it though? Is it all the way on the bottom? All the way on the bottom. Yeah, I've been here before. Think Hugo's here yet? Let's go in and see. Hi, Kate. Hello. Sorry for the wait, Hugo. Don't worry about it. I just got here myself. So, fill us in on these big discoveries of yours. Okay. Look at that shit-eating grin. Well, it's gone now. Names. First, I'll tell you about the three victims and their names. I checked out a list of names related to crimes committed more than 19 years ago. And then it dawned on me. The name Lenny that Sam Coolidge was using. One of the suspects on that list went by the name Lenny Garrett. What was he suspected of? Bass Lock incident? No way! Surprise, surprise. Seriously. What about Isabella's Ava and Duke's Ewan? Couldn't find anything on those two. Wait a minute. What year was the Best Lock incident? 1976, which it's been pretty fucking obvious. Oh man, Isabel's password was 1976 because she loved the fucking alcohol. Dumb fucking bitches not making that connection. Right. Best Lock took place in 1976. What's wrong, Jay? Number on Sam's lotto ticket. Combination on Isabella's safe. Those were both 1976. I didn't remember the lottery ticket number, but I did remember the safe number. Sounds like you're onto something there. There's no way it's just a coincidence. Hans Rickman. I checked some newspapers from the time Hans Rickman was killed. Here's what I ended up with. I got a copy of an article from 34 years ago. Take a look. Here. Hugo, this is an article on the Best Lock incident. That's alright. Newspaper. That article was printed the day after Best Lock took place. This is the only article that mentions Hans Rickman's death. It also touches on how Hans might have been killed. How does it say he might have been killed? Here, take a look. Police officer killed when entering criminal hideout. Was he really ordered to break in? It's all right there. Goes into detail here. And then look at this. It's Hans Rickman. So this is Hans. Article says he went against orders and decided to enter the hideout on his own. It also says there were 4 people hiding in there. The 4. There are 4 criminals in the hideout. That's what it says. And the Best Lock criminals were a 4-man team. Based on what this article says, yeah, probably so. But something still feels off. What does? Hans's death and the 4 criminals. After this article came out, none of this was ever mentioned again in the papers. So why were they shut up? Why do you think the papers stopped reporting on it? Pressure from the police, maybe? That'd be my best guess. And I bet there's an awful lot about this case that's been swept under the rug. I'm sure you're right. Oh yeah, and another thing. I found another article about Best Lock with something strange in it. What? Unfortunately, it wasn't a gossip mag and I couldn't get a copy. But I jotted down the important stuff. Here it is, written a month after the crime. Someone on the Best Lock task force was found to be connected to the criminals. And surprisingly, the name of this man is... Come on, who was it? Hans Rickman. Huh? Hey, that's what it said. Thanks to Hugo, we now have an idea of what links the 4 Providence victims to Best Lock. That's all I've got for now, Jay. I hope you can use it. This is great. I don't know how you do it, Hugo. What can I say? I'll give you a call if I find out more. Sick. Move. Thanks, Hugo. You never cease to amaze me. Why, thank you. There's still a lot about Best Lock we don't know, including what happened to the thieves who got away with $1 million, and how it's connected to the Providence murders. Exactly. Kate, we should ask people about the newspaper article Hugo found. That ought to turn up something. I also want to ask about the 4 victims and their past. Right. I know you can solve this thing. Keep the pressure on. Always. Alright, 6. So I'm just gonna go down up. So I'm gonna start with Natalie Emmett's home and just work my way up. Let's talk to Miss Emmett. Yes? We need to talk, ma'am. Talk about the past. Do you remember anything about your husband's younger days? He had a hard life back then, but he used those experiences to build his business. When exactly did he start up his business? I'd say he was still in his 20s at that time. How did he come up with enough capital to do that? Told me he worked his fingers to the bone coming up with that money. I see. It wouldn't have been in 1977 he came up with, he started his business. It couldn't have been then, right? So long, ma'am. Catch that killer fast. We'll do our best. Probably would have taken some time to actually start a business, so probably the next year, I don't know. Office of M&C Associates. We don't have anything to ask Mr. McDowell. Fuck. Shit. I went to the wrong place. Minerva. The redhead from Fire Emblem 1. That's who she is. That's Minerva. It's Mr. Foley. How can I help you? You can help me by looking at this thing I'm gonna show you. Newspaper. Got an article we'd like you to read. Here it is. The Basslock incident has happened about 15 years before Isabella was killed. I didn't know Isabella back then. She was probably aspiring to become an actress at that time. Look at this. Just below the article, there's an advertisement for movie auditions. They started holding those auditions in 1975. Isabella tried out in the 5th one and almost got cast too. Met her for the first time right after that. And what a gorgeous young woman she was. Isabella's past. You remember anything about Isabella Campbell in her younger days? Well, I mentioned the cosmetic surgery to you. And back then, it cost much more than it would today. In fact, I'm still puzzled how Isabella ever managed to pay for that surgery with the money she stole. I don't think she had a rich boyfriend to fit the bill back then. When exactly did Isabella get this cosmetic surgery? Well, that would have been over 30 years ago. What would you say, around 76? Oh man, it's almost too convenient. Just fucking put the details together. God damn. I never had this issue with fucking Hotel Dusk or Last Window, where it's like something was hinted at and like the player immediately connected the dots, and then the characters did. In this one, it's like I've already connected a lot of the dots, and the characters are still playing catch up. I better make sure. Could you tell us anything about your father when he was young? Like, they haven't put together that the 4 victims were the Basslock thieves. What do you mean by young? So, like, we're still playing catch-up. Something from from about 35 years ago, if possible. Meanwhile, in something like Hotel Dusk, those 2 games, like, Kyle Hyde Like, he was with the player the whole time. You'd have to ask Grandma about that. Couldn't tell you about anything that far back. Dude, it's been like, around a week since I've gone over my fucking cold or whatever that was. I'm still coughing a little bit, and it sucks. I just want to record, man. Didn't you want to ask me something with your fucking demon eyes? Jesus Christ. That is not a good look for you, lady. They fucking butchered you in this. At least with, like, Jonathan, you could see the some definition of his eyes. It's not just pure black. Please take a look at this article, man. Here it is. I remember this well. Oh, that's not that bad. You can see a little bit of the whites of her eyes because of what happened right after it. Charles paid off his father's debt then. And how'd he do that? Charles Smith. His past. Could you tell us anything significant about your son when he was younger? He always made sure to look after his mom and dad. Did you know he paid off a huge debt that his father had accumulated? When did this take place? Oh my, Charles must have been 25 at that time. Would have been 34, 35 years ago. Fucking whatever, man. Later. Sorry to bother you. No bother at all. Good luck with the case. Alright, up next would be Alfred Brown. Let's talk Brown. What do you need? I need the wisdom of your bald head. And whatever's inside of it. Take a look at this article. It's pretty old according to the date. I was just a kid when this came out. Baslock, huh? Mother told me about this. Said a lot of money was stolen. Yeah, I remember it now, but the rumors sort of evaporated soon after it happened. Nobody talked about it anymore. Memory serves me. This case was never solved. Could be wrong, though. Talk. Space. Do you remember anything about Sam Coolidge in his younger days? Sam in his younger days. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. He's bragging about his trip to Vegas once. Talk about how he was living it up like a king. How much money he blew in a single night, like a dumb fuck. Any idea when that trip might have happened? Maybe 30 years ago. He said he was in his 20s. So it would have been more than 30 years ago. Man, that number sure loves popping up. Like, goddamn. Better be off. I'll be here if you need me. Alright. Philip, you got anything about the old days? Well, do ya? Stalked Mr. Robbins. Needs something? Yes, I need you to look at this thing that I'm going to show you. That thing being a newspaper article. So talk to me. Talk to me about Baslock. I need this. Tell me. Give me more. It's about the Baslock incident. Where'd you dig this up? It's buried in the Clockford Times archives. And after this article ran, it seems the media stopped reporting on Baslock altogether. They sure did. And this very article was the source of it all. Exposed mistakes made by the police department. Top brass back then didn't want to take any heat for this thing. After this article came out, all records of Baslock were sealed shut. And the media was pressured to leave it alone. So the police pressured reporters to keep the incident under wraps. But what exactly had to be covered up to protect the department's reputation? Talk. Charles Smith. you remember anything about Charles Smith in his younger days? His younger days. Here's this one thing. Charles' father was up to his ears in debt once, and apparently Charles paid it off for him. I heard that story at Charles' funeral from his mother. Where would Charles get that kind of money? Beats me. Apparently his mom didn't know either. At least, that's what she said. This can't be a coincidence. All four of the victims were spending large sums of money in their 20s. Alright, let's move. Come by anytime if you want to hear about the old days. Sure. Whatever, man. We found out a lot of significant details about the victims' past. Right. All four of them spent boatloads of money in their 20s. But nobody knows where they got it. And everyone says the spending spree happened right after Basslock. Right. And then Hugo tells us that 4 criminals were involved in the Basslock incident. There's even a suspect named Lenny, an alias that Sam Coolidge was using. You think they did it, Jay? It had to be them. They stole that $1 million 34 years ago. What's up, Hugo? Oh, have I got something for you this time? After we met, I looked into the source of the article I gave you, and yes, I did cough before the phone rang, so if you were curious, yeah, sure, whatever. I found an old reporter who knew about the article, and man, did he have a lot to say. Let's hear it. First of all, he knew about Hans Rickman, the officer who died. Some very plausible rumors were going around the office back then. Reporters were saying that Hans himself was the mastermind of Basslock. Really? Then that's what the cops were so scared of the public finding out. I think so. If someone on the force was discovered as the mastermind, I can see how smooth these criminals really were. That explains why the top brass didn't want to take any responsibility. By the way, Henry Mills is the name of your boss, right? That's right. What about him? Then it's true. Jay, your boss is checking into Hans Rickman too. That old reporter I talked to said your boss is questioning him. He told me some guy named Mills was asking him stuff about Hans Rickman. But why? I've got one more thing for you about Rickman. He had a wife and a kid. But after Hans died, no one ever heard about his family again. It's like they vanished. Okay, thanks again, Hugo. Wow. So Hans Rickman was rumored to be the mastermind behind Basslock. So it might not have... So Mills might not be, fucking Rickman, but he might be his kid? If that makes any sense? Wait. No, never mind. That doesn't make sense. I won't even mention that. And now it seems possible that Providence victims might have carried out the Basslock crime. But why is our boss looking to Hans Rickman? Sounds like Hugo's done it again, Jay. Yeah, definitely comes in handy. Why don't we go over what we've learned up to this point? Alright. First, let's run through our investigation of the Providence victims. After asking various people about all 4 victims in their younger days, we found out something they all had in common. And what was that? They all spent lots of money. All 4 victims spent a large sum of money. That's definitely it. Sam Coolidge blew loads of money in Vegas. Like a dumbass, Isabella Campbell had some incredibly expensive cosmetic surgery done, which I would say is fucking stupid, but then again, it seems to have gotten her a lot of roles. And started her career. Charles Smith paid off his father's massive debt. You know, that's respectable. Respectable choice. Duke Desmond spent a ton of money to start up his business. Right, pretty smart decision. And the kicker here is that no one knows where they got all that money. Right, which naturally leads us to assume it was stolen in the Basslock incident. Then they were the criminals who pulled off Basslock. which is why they changed their names, except for the one guy. Is it fair to take it that far, Jay? I'd say so. Alright. Now, let's go over what we know about Hans Rickman. Thanks to Hugo, we got something new on him. What is it? Yeah, why is it that one of them didn't change their name? He was the mastermind. Hans was the mastermind behind Baslock. Yeah, that's it. But if that's true, then why was he killed at the hideout? Maybe they were fighting among themselves. It's possible, right? One less to pay means more money for everyone else. Right. Or what about this? The head of the police department finds out about Hans and arranges for him to die in the line of duty. Yeah, I can see that happening. One more thing. Henry's been out for a while, right? I think we should go over what we know about him, too. Henry? You think something's up with him? I certainly do. Well, Hugo says the boss was looking into Hans Rickman. But Henry told us straight out that he doesn't know anything about Baslock. So, what would motivate him to ask about Hans? Yeah, now that you mention it. And don't forget, we saw his car parked near Professor Gordon's office. That's right. What would he be doing there? And Henry's name even came up in relation to that drug found in the sink at Johnson & Co. True. But that's not all. What do you mean? There's something that's got me really curious, Kate. What's that? Remember when I saw a vision of the criminal at Johnson & Co.? You weren't able to see his face. That's right, you couldn't see the face, but I just realized something this morning. The killer had a very similar build to Henry. What? That's why you wanted to discuss him as part of the investigation. Right. Jay, what do you think our boss has to do with all this? He's the real Providence. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to come into work. He definitely killed Burnett Johnson. I think he's connected to the Burnett Johnson murder. Whether or not he specifically is Providence, I don't fully know yet. How come? Killer I saw in my vision was coughing up blood. Then it hit me that the boss was acting the same way the last time we saw him. Yeah, he did have a bad cough before he went home sick. But come on, Jay, it's Henry. I really can't see him murdering anyone. Neither can I. But the deeper we get, the more suspicious Henry looks. So what do we do now? What do we do? Well, we answer a phone call. Yeah? It's me, Jay. Maureen. Blood results are in from Johnson & Co. I wanted to let you know immediately. What did they turn up? Someone else's blood. Someone other than the victim. The killer? Probably. So I analyzed the DNA from the blood and matched it up with the owner. Who was it? Jay. It was Henry Mills. No. What happened? Maureen analyzed the DNA from the blood at Johnson & Co. It's bad. Henry's the killer. I don't believe this. We gotta find him fast. But how? He won't answer his cell. Do you know where he lives? Took something over to his place once. Then let's move. Cool. Door's open. Let's go in. Look at this wall, Jay. It's covered in pictures. What the? Look, Kate. These are all photos of the victims. And look at this envelope. I've seen it somewhere before. This is an orgy of evidence, just like the one sent to me. What does this mean? Henry copied the letters written 19 years ago. Then it's true. Henry Mills is really Providence. Or at least the modern Providence. Don't know about the old Providence quite yet. Haven't confirmed that. I can't believe this. Where do you think he went? I don't know. Maybe after his next victim? Jay, look at this. Your dad's picture's on the wall. Oh, God. He's next. Jay. There's no way in hell my dad's gonna be the next victim. Come on. Damn it, no answer. Please be safe, Dad.